On Sunday Live. What's happening, people? Coming to you from Malta. So this is different. No coffee today. 7-Up. Ah, delicious. Refreshing. All right, so if you look over in this direction, I guess somewhere over there would be where we are right now, Turkey or something, in that general direction. Somewhere in that general direction would be Tripoli. So, what's happening? The pool, yeah. Didn't go in the pool, but I went in the sea. Kids pee in the pool, you know. I guess everything pees in the sea, but the sea was inviting, so I went in. What do we got here? Got to admit, teared up a bit watching the Taylor Hawkins tribute concert, says Guitar Ninja 212. So let's talk about it. It was great, wasn't it? What a show. I watched the whole thing. I sat out here and watched with in-ears in, and then about halfway through, I went down there and had dinner and sat out there for like 3 hours because it was like 4.5 or however long, many hours it was. So I went down there and sat there and had dinner, and it was a really nice way to watch the show, actually. But it was great. So many moments, you know. But definitely Taylor's son playing drums. I was just watching playback of it over and over and over again today, and that's crazy. Wasn't it incredible? So incredible. Let's see. And Wolf was awesome. Yeah, Wolf was great too, man. That was really cool. He finally did it. He played the Van Halen for the haters. Why don't you play Van Halen? It's disrespectful to never play one of your dad's songs. All that stuff. So anyway, it was great, and it somehow made it really work with Dave on bass and, of course, Josh on drums. Josh played fast. Really fast. Ooh. You can see Wolf's face at the beginning, I think, kind of like, oh my God. He just did it, you know, and killed it. Yeah. It was really great. Tell me if it's kind of windy out here right now. So if the wind on the mic or anything is crappy, I could move inside or get headphones or something. I just like not using the headphones because it's weird with the in-ears in, and then you're talking and it feels funny to talk. God, my crooked eye looks crooked out here right now. I notice it because you guys see me all the time, but I don't see me except when I'm. So sometimes when I see me, I'm like, you look crazy. It's funny because if I see somebody else that has an eye like mine, I go, whoa, that person's kind of wild looking. I got to figure out what eye to focus on. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's what you look like all the time. Oh, God. Anyways, what else about the show did you guys think? It was a really amazing show. Wolfie and Justin was the highlight. I mean, I think depending on what you're into, there was the mini highlights. That was definitely a highlight. You know, they were great. I really enjoyed Supergrass. Supergrass is a band that I had forgotten about, and I really loved like 15, 20 years ago. I really liked those guys, and I'd completely forgotten about them. And they sounded so great. So it was really cool. Really, really good band. And I just really enjoyed it. So Vincent says, are you surprised Wolf didn't play drums? Yeah, it would have been cool to see him play drums, but maybe it was just they had so many drummers or something. They wanted everybody to play at least a couple songs, you know, that kind of thing or something. So hard to say, but would have been really cool. Maybe he will in LA or something. Who knows? You know, because there's still the other show. Yeah, Lauren says, loved that Olivia Newton-John was the bass drum. Yeah, and that's something that, you know, Josh always has funny, like his dog on his bass drum or different things. But Taylor had, you know, Taylor had Cornell on his bass drum for a long time, you know, when Chris passed away. And so they both kind of put interesting things on their kick drums, you know, and I thought it was a really nice gesture on Josh's part to put to put Olivia Newton-John on the bass drum, kind of as Taylor would have to remember people. It's really cool. So, anyways, let's see. Johan says the north is Spain. Yeah, well, I don't know if it's really north. Isn't it west? Really? South is Libya, west is Tunisia, east is sea. I guess north is Spain. North is Italy, really. I mean, Sicily is straight up from here. So that'd be the first thing you'd hit. But we're a little east of Spain, that's for sure. Watching Wolf shred on the EVH semi-hollow has me itching to get that guitar. Yeah, it was really cool, man. Really cool. And I love Dave playing bass, too. How about Dave Grohl, man? Like, amazing sounding, on the drums, and then killing it on the bass, killing it on guitar. Just great, Let's see. 2112 with Grohl on drums. Dave was everywhere. Yeah, that was really, and he sounded great on Working Man, too. I saw somebody say maybe on YouTube or something today, they said that I think they were tuned down a little bit, maybe a half step or something. And somebody said with the down tuning and Grohl on drums, Rush sounds like a grunge band, especially playing Working Man, because it's kind of interesting. Yeah. Todd says I enjoyed Lars and Brian Johnson. How did your gig go? My gig went good. It was a blast, actually. Outdoor fun, really loud stage sound. But, when you're outside, it's cool because it just kind of dissipates. We had a great time. Got there on a boat. Had to go from our hotel on a boat all the way around to the stage. And that was really cool. There's many sort of inlets here where we are on this island, and there's not a lot of ways to get kind of around the island in between different like there's no bridges on the inlets. So you either got to drive all the way around the inlet and then all the way around the inlet, or you take a boat. So and the entrance to the gig was kind of blocked because of that's where the people were coming in with tickets to get into our show, and it's kind of narrow going to the fort at the end of this inlet. It's this show that I did here. This show in Malta called Rock the Fort, and it was good. There was, I think, 2,000 people, something like that, and all crammed up at the end of the inlet. Everybody seemed to have a good time. God, there's a lot of really crazy yachts, like one called the Maltese Falcon that I was told was worth like $45 million or something. It's probably all like oligarchs or something. I'll show you some pictures of the boats were just out of this world. This was the Falcon. I mean, look at this thing. It's just like unbelievable, this boat. That's one boat. Crazy. And let's see, what else have I got here? Other boats. I know I just wanted to show you some of these other. That was it during the day, the Falcon. It's crazy. It's just like this massive boat. It was right behind the stage. I thought I took some others, but this entire city's, it's so amazing because it's well, really the whole island is a giant fort. It's a giant fortress because it was attacked. It's such a strategic position in the Mediterranean, so it was just fortified all the way around the entire island, and it was fought over constantly for hundreds and hundreds of years. Somebody would rule it for 600 years, that they'd get kicked out, and somebody else would take over. And, it's a really interesting place. I didn't know that much about it, I confess, and I still don't, not enough, but I know a little more than I did when I got here. I think I missed a super chat. Sorry about that. Hi from Croatia. What's up, man? How you doing? Any news on the higher power version of the PT? Love my PT 212. Awesome. Yeah, that's a good cab. I wonder which one you have. Is it the kind of horizontal or the more staggered for the PT 15? I haven't talked to John about it recently. I would say, you know, when I get back home towards the back end of the year, I'll see if I can get a little more news on where we're at on it. But we make progress on things in kind of leaps and jumps. You know, we'll go out and get a bunch of stuff done, and we'll decide on a bunch of stuff, and then it'll get stalled for a little bit. Um, I know one of the things that they're dealing with is just getting guitars done and things built that are already ordered. So, you know, it's a quality problem to have, but it's a problem that a lot of people are having kind of in manufacturing, trying to get things finished, trying to get things built and, you know, just supply chain stuff and all that. So he's a really busy guy these days, you know, so I try to not bother him too much. But I'll see when I get home after this trip. Will you be at the LA show? Which show? That like LA Amp show or something? Grohl sure can throw a party. Yeah, he sure did pull that whole gig together fast. I think it's only, you know, over a few months that it was put together. And it was really cool. Simon says, cool to see you catch up with Rob Chapman. Rob, I met at, well, I met him a few years ago, but only briefly kind of at Toman when I was there. And then I saw him at NAMM, and I mentioned I was going to be going to Malta to play a gig. And he said, I live on Malta. And, you know, he said, we should get together. And I said, okay. So we got together and had breakfast today. I don't really know him that well, but it was nice to see him. And he brought by a guitar player that is a local kind of legend, I guess, around here. And he does all the studio work and plays live with everybody. And he also owns a nice recording studio and stuff here. So that was really nice. So we had a meal and stuff. James Gang reunion was a pleasant surprise. Yeah, I didn't see that one coming either. One thing about Dave is he pulls a lot of people together. I mean, from all genres and walks and different eras of rock music. You know, a lot of respect for music in general. You know, it's amazing. Shane Hawkins was amazing. I love it when the kids and musicians play for their parents. My favorite tribute concert is the concert for George. Yeah, that was really great. Concert for George was really cool. The Freddie Mercury concert was great. Cornell's show was great too. You know, it's always a melancholy, you know, something about music. I don't know. It's crazy, but something about Shane. That was like a poor kid, you know, he just lost his pop and he got up there and that was amazing. You know, really, really amazing moment. You know, nothing contrived or, you know, fixed, or just getting up there and killing it at 16 years old. There's no, you know, it was all the feels, man. Really amazing. What pedals for overdrive would you recommend for solo? I can only tell you what I like these days, but my favorites are an Archer. For many years, I've been using that to boost my amps. Sounds great in front of a Marshall or in front of a PT 100 or 15. It's like a clone, and I use the one from J Rocket that's got the Jeff Beck mods. Or I use sometimes these days a Cocoa Boost from Sir, which I love. I use the mid boost side, and depending on the amp and the guitar, you know, I'll pick either the low mid or the high mid setting. But it's a mid-range focus boost that kind of reminds me of when you boost with a treble booster, but it's less of a overall effect. It doesn't drop nearly as much bass as a treble booster like a Range Master, and it's more polite. But I don't mean that in a like, oh, it's boring sounding or something. It's amazing sounding. The mid boost on the Coco, it just boosts in the mids right where you want to hit the amp, kind of like hitting with a Boss EQ or something where you've got the graphic boosted, but it's just something about the Coco, the way it makes the amp scream, you know, and feedback, and it's just right what you want. You know, you turn it on, it doesn't do any overdrive on its own. It just kicks the front end of the amp and makes it drive hard in the right frequency. It's almost like if you have a single coil in your guitar and then you have a Duncan JB in it just for the solo, and then you can go back to the single coil, but it's like it would be impossible to do that. It's really cool. Awesome what you do. Thanks for the Sunday live chats. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it. Hang here for a bit with you guys, and I'm going to get some dinner and call it a night, I think. After a little while. Let's see what else we got here. Who else is here? Let's see. Pete, you have video for us, please. Which video? I have a video that I got to finish that I still need to edit. I took the last 2 days off, really. I did some work today here because I got to prepare for something next weekend for Guitar Summit. I'll talk a little bit about that in a second, but I just needed a minute off. I felt like, and so when I came here, I thought I'm not really like a resort guy, but this is a resort I'm at, and I was staying in another much more basic hotel, and this is a really nice hotel by the beach with a pool and everything. I thought I'm just gonna, did the thing where I had some points on a card and I could book myself a nice room for a couple of days. So I did it just because it's like, you're here, go chill, just calm down, relax. So, can I buy the pickup out of your HSS? Yeah, it'll be available as you can get the. Are you talking about the Thorn Bucker too? You can get it as an aftermarket, separate humbucker for sure. Yeah. What else? Let's see. Just reading through your comments. The police set with Stuart Copeland was super cool. Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool too. I love the police, so sorry, my eyes are driving me crazy right now. Just trying to read. They get tired by the end of the day, and I'm in the wind. I don't wear contacts, and so the wind blowing on there it's hard to dry out. First world problems. Hey Pete, love your videos. First time tuning in for Sunday Live. Oh, well, thanks for being here. Ended up getting the New X Atlantic based on your demo. That's a good pedal. They make some really good pedals for low do. Okay, let's see. If you have to buy just one thing, would you go with a versatile amp or something digital? Well, like, do you mean just for amp sounds or for everything? Because, like, one thing about the quad is that it does everything. So if you need effects and you need an all-in-one, it's kind of hard to beat the modelers if you don't have anything else. Like, if all I could have was an amp or a quad Cortex with no other gear other than a guitar and a cable, I would have to say I would go with the modeler, because then you've got so much of a wider palette to work with. Right? That would be I'm not drinking like straight gin here or something. It's 7-Up. Sorry, I'm being boring tonight. So yeah, it's hard to beat a unit like a Helix or a quad Cortex if it's going to be the only gear you own, Looking for advice on 112 cabs, thinking of the PT 112 or Rev, mostly for rock. Well, I love my 112. It's great. I mean, 112 is only going to give you so much, but the 112 we have is really nice. It's a single Creamback H75, which I love for a single speaker. It just works really well. It's a big, bold sounding speaker that covers a lot of ground. So I can only speak. I don't know anything about the Rev. I can only speak for our cab. Heard the Eagles playing Dirty Laundry live from Australia. Did Don let you rip on that solo? Yeah, I used to play the Walsh solo, so the first one. And I also played a little solo in the intro. And often we started the show with it. So I would play the solo, like, it'd be the first thing that you heard was a little, 8-bar solo at the beginning of the song or something. And it was always a little stressful because I had to go out there and play loud and rip right out of the gate, but and then I'd take the Joe Walsh solo with Stuart Smith would play the Lukather solo. It was really fun. Jay says, love Bob Clearmountain's mix. Bob's the man. He mixed the Hawkins Taylor Hawkins tribute show yesterday for broadcast. So I think it was a separate mix probably for the venue, but he mixed the the sound going out for broadcast. It was very cool. Violet was amazing. Violet was amazing as well, wasn't she? She was really great singing Buckley. Yeah, she had flawless, actually. Like, pretty great, you know. She was funny when she came out. Wow, it's a lot of people. That's what she said. It was so great. So great. Uh, yeah, yeah. So, tell us more about your visit to 5150 Studios. Your gig was awesome. We staggered home happy. Awesome. Hi, Nigel. Yeah, I met you the other day. Nigel's a big Van Halen fan. I was at 5150 numerous times over a period of about 10 years. So, just lots of great memories of going there, and the place makes an impact on you. I got a couple super chats I got to grab there. I won't forget. One's going to disappear, but I'll get you in a sec. It's like hallowed ground, and driving up there. I mean, going in the first time, I tell you what my first impression was walking in, and then Ed took me into the to show me around a little bit. He took me in the live room, and in the live room there's a whole wall of tape, 24 track reels, and that really struck me. I looked up, and it was like all the way to the ceiling, 24 track reels stacked all the way, on shelves. I thought, look at all that music. Oh my God, what's on those reels, And I remember walking in and seeing, like Al's drums in there, thinking like, oh man, that's so cool, and you're trying to take it all in and look around, That was just my first time there. And then after that first time, I went back a couple times over the next little while. I went there quite a bit. And my favorite time was, I won't tell the whole story because I've told it before, but was going up there and then playing Ed some music for my first solo record, because it hadn't been released yet, but I had some stuff done. So I played him a track, and he sat and listened to it, and he was really kind about it and stuff. And then he said, let me play you some stuff. And then he started putting stuff on, and I heard some stuff that was so cool that, the first thing he played me was I think they'd rehearsed there that morning, like Wolf and Al and him, and they used to record every day. So he played me their jam from that morning, basically. And it sounded amazing. So cool, and then he goes, let me check this stuff out. And he started playing me songs that he was working on. And he played me this one track that I'll always remember because it sounded mixed and really finished, but there was no vocals on it. There was background vocals, but there was no lead vocal. And it's not a song that ended up on A Different Kind of Truth or anything, because this was before that. And the song was great. And I just remember him sitting, playing it for me and kind of talking about all the parts. And then he was going like this to the drum beat. He was going he was playing along, do it and stuff, just air drumming. And then he goes, now check out the solo, and he's like, one note. And he's because it's really loud as he's and the solo comes in, he hit one note, and he's just milking this one note for bars and bars and bars. He was just holding this one note. He's like, yeah, everybody's always expecting me to rip, but so I just wanted to sustain, bend, just hold it out. And I was like, oh, it's so cool. It sounded amazing. And when it was over, I was like, so that's incredible. I was like, you guys gonna finish that? And his vibe was kind of I don't want to talk shit or anything, but it was just his vibe was I don't know, Dave won't like it. I was like, what do you mean? He's not gonna like it, And I was like, that just kind of bummed me out. I don't know if it was he'd ever played it for him, or if he was just preconceived, kind of that he wouldn't like it because of their sort of. So there was that, and I was kind of fuck, it was kind of a bummer that but anyway, overall it was an amazing day of just him playing me different things and me playing him my stuff, and mind-blowing, one of the coolest days of my life, just getting to do that with your hero. So that's one story from going up there that really sticks in my mind, sitting there at the console with him and listening to music. It was so fun. Richard says, I've been using more pedals into channel 1 of the PT15. Any pedal recommendations to get a lo-fi indie tone? You know what I like for that is the Mobius, man. The lo-fi mode in the Mobius is what I use to do filter. It's got a filter in it, and it'll filter the sound. And you can even do warped vinyl kind of effects with it, like where you set the mod and it sounds kind of like vinyl warping. And if you combine that with a fuzz, it's amazing sounding. So try if you got a Mobius and a cool fuzz, something like a that's muff based, you can get some incredible lo-fi sounds. Really, really, really cool. Yeah, that would be my first thing, Okay, looking at, there's another super chat I got to grab there. That let's see. I don't want to miss a bunch of these other questions though. But I feel like I can't dial in a good fuzz tone. What do you like in fuzz, and who's your favorite artist with fuzz? It depends what kind of fuzz you want, Arthur. Like, there's the different varieties, So like, there's the muff thing, which to me is very friendly because you can kind of tweak that filter control to make it work with so many different amps and whatnot, and it's not sensitive to buffers and things. So muffs, some fireworks going off or something. Muffs will work in a lot of situations. Single coils with humbuckers, I find them. It's a woolly sound, but it's a great sound and a fun sound to solo with. And then there's the Fuzz Face thing, which is much more a single coil friendly kind of thing that doesn't work into every amp sound. To me, the amp has to be kind of turned up to at least starting to break up before a Fuzz Face sounds any good, because it's kind of the combination of the Fuzz Face with a little bit of overdrive from the amp that's cool. So that's a more specific thing, and generally single coils with a Fuzz Face, I think, works better. So take that into account. There's plenty of modern fuzzes that'll work well with different guitars and stuff. Like the Sir Rufus is really good. Both of them, Rufus and Rufus Reloaded, with humbuckers and with singles. The other one I love is the Crazy Tube Circuits Starlight Fuzz. That's the one I always recommend to people if they're like, I can't get a good fuzz sound. That pedal, when it's set with the distortion or fuzz knob kind of low, it can sound like almost like an overdrive. And then you turn it up a bit more and it's like a distortion. You turn it up a bit more and now it's becoming definitely a fuzz above like 11 o'clock or something. But it's a fuzz for people that don't like fuzz, I think. Just very versatile. It's a great lead sound on its own that's different than the typical Marshall Plexi or Fender driven with a tube screamer or whatever, that kind of thing. Into a clean amp, it just has this really great fat singing thing that, like I say, could be overdrive, could be distortion, or could be fuzz, depending on the pickups in your guitar, where you set your volume control, and how high you have the fuzz set on the pedal. And it's just very versatile. Steven says, will you be at the LA Hawkins tribute? I don't know. That's a good question. I kind of had let it go because I didn't have anything sorted out to go. But then I spoke to somebody about it today because I really enjoyed the show so much the other day. So we'll see if maybe I can go or not. I'm not sure. I hadn't worked on a way to go, to be honest. But the other thing is, Britt is playing up in, who's, by the way, Britt Bowman's playing Rock in Rio tonight, and it's going to be like 80,000 people. It's going to be insane. So if you guys are, you want to see something cool, watch her on Rock in Rio. I'm sure there's a stream going on YouTube from somewhere, maybe official Rock in Rio site or something. I don't know. But she's playing tonight with Demi Lovato, and it's at, I believe, excuse me, around, I think they play at 8:30 p.m. or I'm forgetting now. I don't want to screw it up. It's either 7:30 or 8:30 p.m., something like that. East Coast time, so Eastern Daylight Time. So anyway, if you could probably find it easily if you're interested. But her and Nita Strauss and the band and stuff, and they're going to play tonight. So if anybody wants to watch, she's going to be getting up there in front of like 80,000 people. or 100,000 people or whatever. You know, it's going to be nuts. Anyway, I was making a point. She's going to be playing in San Francisco the same night as the Taylor tribute show. And I was planning on going to San Francisco, and I hadn't realized that they were the same night. So we'll see what happens. I'm just not sure. I kind of wanted to go up there, and that would be the first time I'd see her do that gig and get to play. And I'll be at the LA show the next day, too. Yeah. So, LA Demi show, that is. Yeah. Okay. Aren't you on a working vacation? Yeah, I'm basically on a working vacation. I worked hard for a couple days, and then a few days really, and then decided to take a couple days off. So let's see. Would you pick for the recording a universal aux, a UA aux, or torpedo live? I like them both for different things. I love my speaker sims and stuff that are in that, you know, I've got a signature package that I love the sound of, that I work with the torpedo products. The aux is really good too, though. It's got its, you know, there's the effects in the aux, so that can be nice if you want to, you know, modulated delay or something. You can do it within the aux. There's a nice plate reverb in there. There's some reverbs and stuff in the two notes too, but there's more effects, I would say, in the aux. But you might not care about that, so it just depends. They're both really good. They both have very similar load boxes. Oh, Ryan saying video of the Malta jam. I'm sure there's some videos out there. I've caught only a couple, but from the show that we did in Malta, but I'll have to take a look and see if I can find some more. Hi from Israel. You're not far away from me right now. Hope you're enjoying your time in the Mediterranean. Nice to be in the right time zone for once. Yeah. I guess that's, I mean, although normal, I tried to keep the show at the normal time that I do it anyway, right? So probably not too far off from the normal Sunday live time. Yeah. Let's see. Did you see Wolfgang's performance? Says Jeff. Yeah, we were talking about it a little bit earlier. He killed it. He was great. Really, really fun. I love that he just did it, you know, because he's been kind of like not doing it, but what a great way to do it with Dave on bass and Justin singing and all that. It was like totally makes sense, you know. So, and it did seem like, you know, like if there ever was a Van Halen tribute of some sort of show or something, he's the guy, you know, he's the guy to play it. You know, he can do it and kills it, and his name is Van Halen, and is the rightful, that would make the most sense, right? You know, with him on guitar. And so I'm not saying it'll ever happen, but if it did happen, it would be I think we sort of felt like what that would feel like watching him do that, you know, and it was pretty cool. All the feels. Have you ever released an online guitar course? No, but I do have something coming. So in the fall, there's a little bit of stuff I have on Jam Track Central, and I've got a few lessons on YouTube. I've got a lessons playlist on my YouTube channel, so you can look there for a few things. Yeah. Okay. Greetings from Croatia again. What's up? A couple people from Croatia. Oh, there's a couple super chats. Can you recommend a good power amp for my HX Stomp XL bass fly rig? Looking at Seymour Duncan. That's what I've been using. I used the Seymour Duncan at the show here. I just had a mono one. So although I was running stereo to the PA, I did a single mono output and ran that into which worked fine. I ran it into a 412 that actually a good sounding cabinet. It was a Randall cabinet that showed up. And I have a Randall 412. And it looked very similar. The construction is very thick birch construction, and I'm sure it had V30s in it. They sounded like V30s, and the cabinet actually sounded terrific. So it was a nice, you know, good, solid rental 412. But yeah, I digress. The Seymour Duncan works well, for sure. Another cab. What difference is the one here between a thicker sided 212 like a 1936 and a thinner sided one like a Fender? I do think there's something to the thicker, more robust cabs, you know, the ones that have a little more of a, you know, like I was just saying about the Randall. It's got these really thick, you know, almost like an orange, you know, orange cabinets, and there's just something to those cabinets when they've got, or maybe you just imagine it or something, but I've got a couple 212s that are lighter, and they don't seem to have the balls or something of the, you know, the solidity or something. They're good sounding cabinets, you know, when they're lighter, like you mentioned, the Fender cabinets. But if you play heavy with distortion, you know, they don't seem to be as solid sounding. There's also something, the 1936 just is a kind of a small cabinet, like the depth and it's just sort of on the small side for a 212, I find. It's not the biggest sounding 212. They're okay, you know, but I love my signature 212 because it's a little beefier and heftier, and it's got a little more depth to it, front to back. And the first cabinets that I tried didn't have that depth, and then I asked them to make a deeper one, and it sounded way better to me. Looking at the, well, that's interesting. Megadeth rig rundown, both are using quad cortex. Very interesting. Yeah, well, I'm using it too a lot these days. It just makes sense on these fly kind of gigs and stuff, and it really does sound good. Arthur says his super chat disappeared. Sorry, Arthur. Just ask again in the regular chat, and I'll find you here in a sec. Let's see. Video of you playing in Malta, says Ryan. Yeah, I don't know. I already answered that one. I'll have to see if I can find something to put up. Yeah. Geez, I'm still jet lagged. I feel it right now. Like around this time of day, I just start getting like really like, it's kind of crazy. It's like, because I've already been here for, what is it? What day is it today? Sunday. I left a week ago. Still jet lagged after a week. It's a lot. I guess I'm 9 hours off though. So they say that an hour a day, you know, and I think that that's kind of true because I still feel it. And I bet in 2 days I'll feel fully adjusted. Actually, and I fly back tomorrow I'll go to Paris for a second. And I'll be heading an hour further back the other direction. So that'll probably be helpful, I guess. Yeah. Okay. Steph Richard says, look up John Krim, tell him Guy sent you. He's not a musician, just an interesting dude to know. Well, I got to go tomorrow, so I don't think I'll see him. But what can you do? There's a super chat from Modern Vintage. I'll grab that in just a sec. Here, sir user, can you describe to me which kind of amp is the Badger? The Badger is a very unique amp. Badger 30, if I had to describe it, sounds sort of martially. The Badger 18, kind of Americana. EL 84, but not really AC30, has more of a, it's got a unique sound to it. John kind of made it for like that lightly overdriven Americana kind of guitar sound, I think was what he was going for primarily. And it works great for that elusive in between, is it clean, is it dirty sound, the 18. The 30 is a little more versatile. I find it can be good cleaner. It's just got more headroom, and it can also be better, more overdriven than the 18. The 18 lives in the middle ground to me. And the 36 is like a double power 18, and it lives in that middle ground, just louder if you need it. Of course, it's got power scaling, so you can also keep it low. So if you want kind of a Voxy Americana, like Vox isn't an American amp, I know, but when we think of America, like when I think of Mike Campbell or even Bryan Adams, that kind of lightly overdriven guitar sound that's at the beginning of It's Only Love or something. Or when I think of, Brad Paisley's a big EL 84 guy. I think he used those Z-Rec, kind of amps and stuff. That lightly overdriven thing. What is it? Rock? Is it country? Is it dirty? Is it clean? You know, those tones. That's what the Badger really does well. And it's cathode bias. It's got a little bit softer attack to it. Can't do metal with it, you know, but with the right pedal, you probably could. But it's more like a rock, country, Americana, that kind of thing. Is there anything about higher gain stiff amps you dislike? Love my Wizards, but Friedman, Bogner, Cirrus have a great feel. Yeah, they're probably stiff in the filtering. The Wizards, they're very robust. They're very fast, you know, and it's a cool sound. But yeah, it's not exactly, you know, they don't have the sag and the give and the swirl and stuff that it's a different sound. But I like the Wizard thing, you know. I've done some good work with Wizards. Just a different sound. Let's see. Okay. Saw Don Henley's Dirty Laundry tour in Philly way back. Susanna Hoffs opened. So was that you playing in Don's band? When would it be? I played with Dawn from 2010 until 2015, something like that. Almost 6 years from the time. 2009, sorry, late 2009 through 2015. About 6 years, because it was the fall of 2015 when I couldn't do the tour he was doing then because I was in Japan. And that was kind of the end of my tenure with him, although I did come back and do a couple more gigs with him. Which was great. Let's see. Was your quad cortex cap plexi capture through a cab or raw? Which one? Because I've done a bunch. I've done plexi captures. I think I'm gonna go inside because the wind is sorry. Just give me 2 seconds here to reorient. The wind is like drying my eyes out, and it's making it really hard to read your questions. So let's go indoors, shall we? That will solve all the problems. 1 sec here. Some light. Lovely out there, but it's not working for Sunday Live. Okay, I can already tell that's way better. So I did a bunch. There's one that I did. I made the video where I called it like, can I put this badass JMP into my quad cortex? And maybe it's that one that you're referring to. I don't remember if I did just the amp or the cabinet as well in that video. But regardless, it works well either way. You know, you can do full amp microphone cabinet captures and get a great sound, or you can just do the head using a load box, and those work great as well. I find it's pretty impressive. Is Malta off the Amalfi coast of Italy? Sort of. Yeah, it's not far. It's really right below Sicily. So if you picture the boot of Italy and then coming down, Sicily's at the bottom, right? It's below that. But you're definitely not far from Amalfi coast, which is amazing. I was there a few years ago too. Yeah. Ooh, I'm far back in the chat, aren't I? You guys are talking about my EVH story that I told earlier in the show. What's your favorite fuzz? I mentioned earlier the Starlight from Crazy Tube is my favorite for a versatile all-around fuzz for people that don't like fuzzes. The one I have on my board right now and I love is the Ryra clone of a green Big Muff. So I guess it's the kind of Russian-made Big Muff. And I've had that on my board for a long time, and I get a lot of use out of it. I really like that fuzz a lot. So I'm using that. Ryra Rock Your Repaired Amp. I think is what that stands for. Excuse me, bear with me. Jet lag. It's not you guys. Tone bender is awesome. I've never used a tone bender for anything, like a recording or anything. I think of them as kind of the other Fuzz Face. But yeah. Lauren says, I think it's pretty special you were skilled enough to play guitar with EVH and have him dig it. I don't know that I ever sat and actually played guitar. I don't think I could have done that. I probably could have, but I don't think it would have been. I would remember, and I don't remember that. So I don't think I ever did that. But we did, like I did play him music, like recordings that I'd done of my record and stuff. And the first time I ever sat there with him in the studio, I told the story a long time ago. But it's a track of mine that was supposed to be worked on. It's a long story. It was an incredible experience, but also terrifying in a way, because what came out of the monitors right away, and I only realized it when he pushed play and then it came out, was like, oh my God, that's me playing guitar. And I'm sitting here in his studio, and it's like, that's weird. That was a strange experience, but it was cool. It was really cool. I'm sorry that I've told the story before, so I don't want to tell the whole story again on here, but it was a track that, we were supposed to be, that potentially we were working on together, which was amazing for Chris Cornell. And it never got finished. So, but we both did play on it. And that is surreal, because I only heard it once, when he worked on it. And then I went up and I listened to what he'd done, and it was him and I on the same track, and I was fucking bonkers. But I wish I had a recording of it. But some of you out there are probably hearing this story. What? But I've told it before on here, and I don't want to tell it again right now. I'm too tired to tell it. I'll screw it up. I'm like in this jet lag state or whatever. I don't want to like destroy it, but. George says the wind is destroying your audio. Oh, it's probably better now that I'm inside, right? Yeah, I was asking about that. Like, if I was wondering if the wind was blowing on the mics and the computer and screwing it up. But Wampler Fuzz. Oh, yeah, that's a good one. I think I did a video for that pedal, the Fuzzstration. That was a little while ago, but nice pedal for sure. Look for Finch Electronics Germanium limited edition releases, quality and components. Is that like the Finch Fuzzes? Pete Y. Malta. We were here doing a show. We did a show called Rock the Fort with Classic Rock Show. It was fun. I guess it's like an annual show that they do every year. Interestingly, I think the last time they did it, it was Mark Martel, Small World. So I used to gig with him a little bit, but so those folks were over here the last time they did it. So happy for Britt. She has hit the big time. She really has hit the big time. It's gonna be crazy tonight. She's sending me pictures of Toby right now. You want to see Toby? What's Toby? That's Toby. Oh, look at him. He's a good boy. Look at all that fuzz coming out of his ears. Look at that. Cat sheds so much, it's ridiculous. Like a whole nother cat comes off of that cat every day. He's a good boy. That's Toby. Miss that guy. Okay. Let's see. Moving down through the chat. The Wren and Cuff. Wren and Cuff, that's an interesting fuzz. Wren and Cuff Super Russian. It has a germanium boost and EQ switch that makes it more flat rather than scoop. That's interesting. Wren and Cuff's a company that I haven't gotten to play with their fuzzes and pedals in general enough, because I know I find it interesting because they specialize in muffs, right? I'm just going to text her and tell her I'm just doing Sunday Live. Yeah. Like, definitely would like to try some of their pedals, because I know they're supposed to, make really nice, like every variation of Gilmore fuzz that was used on, the different recordings and stuff. I find it interesting that they're so geeky about that one pedal. I guess it's a whole subculture. Yeah. Here's an interesting comment about clothes. Thank you. Your outfits are always so on point. I wear the same shirt every day. I wear black shirts every day, but thanks. I'm kind of like into black and red these days, so I guess that makes it easy. Just black and I got some red shoes. I got black. I got a red guitar with black on it. It keeps me color coordinated. Yeah. Yeah. Jason says, any sign of Rob Chapman? I did see Rob Chapman today. He stopped by and had breakfast. Thoughts on Wolfgang? He was amazing. He killed it. Knocked it out of the park, man. He killed the solo on Fire. That was great. So great. Have you ever played with John Paul? No, I don't know who that is. Who's that? Yeah. Some vids of the Rock the Fort show are on Facebook and For Love of the Classic Rock show. Yeah, that's like a fan site. Yeah. Sounds like wind noise in the mic, so I got out of there, so it should be better now, right? I hope. Or is it the AC in this room? Let's see. Steven says, didn't Jason Newsted say he was recruited for a potential Van Halen tribute with Alex and Jerry Cantrell? I didn't hear that. Never heard that. Jerry and Ed were good friends. Jason did come out and say that. But who knows if it was just a thing. Why would they approach anyone other than Mike? It's strange to me. To play bass when you've got the bass player right there, right? If there was a Van Halen tribute, it would be great to have Phil X sing Dave's songs. Phil's amazing. He's awesome at it. But like, there is Dave Lee Roth. That's like trying to do Mick Jagger. It's like he's so unique. I think it's next to impossible, and he doesn't even do what he used to do. So it's like, it's really difficult. I mean, it's interesting. It's like Sammy's still Sammy. It's like there's the guy, he's the same guy. Mick Jagger's still Mick Jagger. There's the guy, he's the same guy. And Dave's changed a lot. He's just like he's like a different front man now. So it's interesting, that period of when you listen to Van Halen, like I've got some bootlegs. Dave Friedman gave me a bootleg from 79 or something, and maybe it was 78. When you listen to it, it's almost like punk music. It's like the way they would play live. It's like almost like off the rails, like going to fall apart at any time in a really great way. Some of the tempos are really fast. Some of just the vibe is like there's so much of a sound to it that's so like kind of crazy, and that's just part of it. It's like I don't know where I'm going with that, but it's like the way Dave was and the screams. It's like it's almost like. It's almost like you have to be in your 20s to do it properly or something. I don't know how else to say it. Like there's a youth to it that's just kind of like, I live my life like there's no tomorrow, and like they kind of did, It's like this. It was young man's music, It's kind of crazy. It's like yeah. I don't know. You know what I'm talking about? Does it make sense? Okay. I'm so far back in the chat. There's a super chat I just missed. I'm going to go down to the bottom. So sorry, I'll try and move it along a little more. For the Celestion IRs, do you find there's much of a difference between the backline heroes and the regular speaker models? There's a little difference, but not that much. It's not like if you've already got a good collection of them, you're like, should I go buy a 412 with a green back again from a different company? Probably not. You've probably got it covered with, you could try. I mean, I think the Sir ones sort of are my favorite over the, like if I had to pick between the Sir ones and the regular ones. And that could be just even a reflection of they, maybe got the way that they do IRs a little more refined as they move along, They change their approach a little bit and they learn a little more about it and stuff. But the early ones are great too, the first ones they came out with. So I've got the PT112 and PT15 IR more than enough for any venue that I play. Cool. Although running wet dry with an ombre, that's cool. That should be fun, I would think. Curious on your experience with bass compressor pedals. Oh, that's the only one that I ever had. I mean, I'm not a big bass, like I'm not really a bass player, although I play bass on a lot of my stuff. I play bass in my records and stuff, but I'm not like an expert in this. But the one that I will say I really enjoyed, I have two things. Well, I'll use a plugin a lot, Distressor generally, or sometimes LA2A is really nice on. I love the sound of an LA2A with like the B15 uh, from Universal Audio. It's like the B50, plug a bass right into the interface, and then you load up the B15 in the unison slot, and then below that you load a plug-in compressor. And the LA2A, the gray LA2A, it's just a lovely sound, man. You get about 7 dB of gain reduction, maybe on the loudest hits. And even just inserting it with no gain reduction sounds good in the chain, but you get about 7 dB going, not too crazy. And then it just has this big, beautiful blooming sound that not for hard rock or anything, but for more mellow stuff, that's just great. For a pedal though, when tracking and stuff, I find I like the Cali 76, the original one, the great big one that they made with the big meter on it. And that just sounds great on bass for if you're going to use a pedal compressor. I have a DBX 500 series rack mount that's basically like a 160 or whatever, the very simple DBX compressor. And I've recorded bass a little bit through that too, and that sounds really good if I'm going to run it, the bass into a, input on my Maris or something, or, and then I'll take the output and run into the DBX and out of that, and then into the channel, on my UA interface, and record like that. And that works quite well too. Jason says he loved Joe Walsh's performance on the Taylor Hawkins tribute. At times he seems to be completely losing it, but always brings it back. Yeah, he's been doing that for 50 years, right? Proper rock guitarist. Yeah, I would agree. I mean, he's did you see this amp setup too? He's like kind of plexified. He had a JCM 800 and a plexi that looked jumpered, and it was like kind of gainy with that PRS, and kind of, like that gnarly, he did the old school, he wasn't playing combos or anything, I love that he did like a dual Marshall thing. It's kind of cool. Pretty neat. Yeah. Appreciate you, Pete. Says Bad Jizzle. Thanks, man. It's great you're here each Sunday to make the day better. Thanks, man. Great you guys are here to make the day better for me too. I've been looking forward to it all day. I have. Huddles is asking me why Malta again. I just was here to play a show, so it was a gig with a band called the Classic Rock Show. You can run the Quad Cortex into a power station as an amp and then into a cabinet. Yeah, you could do that. You could use the power station's power amp to reamp it into probably sound really good. Actually, I've never tried that. I've only used solid state power amps with it, but that'll work. You bet. Is yawning contagious? Sorry, Arthur, I yawned. I made you yawn. Yeah, I'm just still lagging after a week, man. It's only what time is it right now? 9. So I'll go to bed. I'm going to see if I can find this Rock and Reel stream because I want to watch their set, but I don't think it'll be to 1:30 or something. So maybe I set an alarm, kind of wake up, turn on the stream, watch a little bit of their set and stuff because I want to see it. Kind of cool, kind of amazing, She's playing. This is Britt Bowman playing with Demi Lovato today at Rock and Rio. You guys watch her out there if you're in a time zone that makes more sense than the one that I'm in. It'll be 4:30 or 5:30 if you're on the West Coast, and wherever else in the you can find it, I'm sure, on YouTube. She'll be with Demi Lovato. When Chris Cornell reunited with Soundgarden around 2010, did that fold the solo band? Essentially. And then the second question, did you ever play on a Cornell studio album? Yeah, I played on Scream. So I played on a few tracks on there. It's kind of interesting how it came about too, but it was right at the end of the project because everything was basically done, and then he asked me to plant some stuff, and I did it all from my home studio. And my home studio was pretty modest at that point. And the other unique, unusual thing was what the way that it happened was he's like, I think I need more guitar in these songs. Like, can you? And I was like, okay. Like, and so I took mixes. The album hadn't obviously come out, and it wasn't even mixed. I don't think that it was like roughs or something. And I took those, and then I played a bunch of ideas down in my home studio, and then I showed them to him, and I mixed them down, and then mixed them onto the stereo track that he'd given me, and then just did a new bounce. So it was like a, you know, stereo track and then 5 tracks of my guitars or whatever, and mixed it out, bounced it out, sent him an MP3 or whatever. What do you think of this stuff? And he goes like, that's great. Love it. Don't change a thing. And I want you to mix it down to stereo. I was like, really? And like, you don't want me to export the 5 tracks? And then I sent it. No, I like the way you're mixing it. You do it. Balance it to stereo. So what I did was I bounced all the tracks I did on the songs I played on to a stereo file, sent that to the mixer, and that's what's on the record. My submix. I should have gotten an engineering credit on the record, I guess. So that's the studio album that I played on for Chris. So yeah, and to your other question, which was did it fold the solo band? Yeah, like I remember Kim coming to 2009 Kim Thale 2009 solo show, and you know, I met him. He was very nice. We had a great talk and stuff. He was cool. And I remember watching him stand on the side of the stage and watching the show, and then talking to him, you know, throughout the show. Oh, one thing I remember was really cool was walking over. Chris used to do the little acoustic set in the middle, and I walked over to him, and he was playing "Fell on Black Days" on acoustic, and the whole crowd was singing, you know, and singing along. And he goes like, "Wow, they all like." It was like he was like almost like moved and shocked at the fact that they all still remembered, you know. Like he's like, "Wow, they all remember "Fell on Black Days." Wow. I was like, yeah, dude, it's "Fell on Black Days." You're Kim Thale. It's Soundgarden. It's badass, you know. But I could also see the writing on the wall in that moment. This is something's going on here, you know. And then like 2 years later, he was back playing Lollapalooza, Soundgarden, doing it. Like, you could kind of feel it, you know. We'd gone through 2 solo album cycles. The second one was, you know, well, it was just an odd time, I guess, and you could feel that Chris was going to do something else. You know, it was like, okay, he's done his solo thing now. It's like time to do something, and it's going to be Soundgarden. You know, so yeah. He got to such an interesting place, you know, after that with Higher Truth. First, the Songbook acoustic tour, which I loved. You know, it was great. It was like the fact that he would go and play solo acoustic or play with a cello player, and that just worked really well, you know. And then the fact that he could do that and then also do Soundgarden, and then he did an Audio Slave reunion, you know, early 2017, right? January. And it was like, and Temple of the Dog reunion right before that, right? In 2016. He had like 3 bands that were all viable that he could do, plus his solo career at that point, you know. In like 2010, he didn't, you know, but like by 2016, 17, he had like all these projects going. You know, part of why it's misfiring, also just really, really, really sad. One aspect of why it's so sad that he's gone, you know, because he had so much going. And I was interested to see like what he was going to do next, you know. But anyways, I got to hit that super chat there. But Pete, you're a great player. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. I do the best I can. Anyone would be glad to have you play on their project. Thanks, man. I don't know about anyone. I'm not a jazzer. There's some things that'll stink up the joint for sure. Terry, thanks for the super chat, man. I'm a beginner guitar player, not sure about how much gain is too much gain in my drive tones, especially lead. You know, you could ask a terrific question. And the way to do it is always set the gain to where it feels about comfortable and then back it off a little bit so that it's not quite as comfortable. And then practice playing with it like that until it feels comfortable. That's a good yardstick, I think. If there's oodles of gain, you know, unless you're specifically going for a heavily fuzzed out, no attack kind of sound, the more distortion or gain that you add, the less sort of clarity you have and attack and punch in the signal. And I love clarity and attack and punch. I love those things. And it's a big part of rock guitar to me. There's some times when it's not appropriate, and that's when you're playing a big muff or whatever, and you've got that, whoa, just a big, like, the soft attack kind of fuzz sound. That's cool too. It's its own thing. But if we're talking about basic straight up rock and roll or hard rock or even heavy metal guitar, it's like you want some punch and attack and clarity in the signal. And I generally find, like erring on the side of a little less gain than would be ideally comfortable, and then practicing with it like that to get to the point where it feels like it's not a problem is the best way to go. So that's my piece of advice there. Yoan, says, I've never understood compressors. I guess it's not my thing. If you play an overdriven amp already, then it's not really necessary. Compressors to me are all about making a clean sound more even and make the clean sound sort of feel like the amp is overdriven, but it's not, it's clean. So that's how I describe it. If you're hitting the guitar hard and you're playing funk or something like that, it's helpful to have a compressor because it squashes it out and makes it kind of even when you're doing lots of rhythmic, picking. Or if you're just trying to get a little bit of sustain, and you want to, like, single note lines, if you're playing country, it evens out everything where sometimes you're hybrid picking and sometimes you're using the pick and you're jumping from plain strings to wound strings. It evens it all out because the attack and everything can jump up and down. And if you flub one note a little bit, it'll be quiet, and then another one will jump out and all that kind of stuff. The compressor just kind of makes all that a little bit easier. So it's almost like I'm contradicting myself from what I just said about distortion and how to dial it in. But distortion by nature is compressed. So the more distortion you pile on, you're getting like intense compression as well as, distortion, overdrive, harmonic generation in the signal. One of the aspects of that sound is compression, so much compression, So when you're using a pedal compressor, you're kind of mimicking one aspect of that, but without the overdrive and all the stuff, hopefully. If there's overdrive, then it means your compressor's shitty. If there's foots in the signal and all that, But anyway, the feel of a slightly overdriven amp is about where I like to set the compressor on a clean amp so that I can get that similar kind of feel. I saw a funny comment today. He's a legend, so it was like it was all in jest and good nature. But somebody said about Nile Rodgers, please give him an overdrive pedal, because when he was playing the Stevie Ray Vaughan licks in Let's Dance and stuff, he was playing completely clean, And I thought that too. I thought, oh, he should stomp on a box for that, because he was playing the solos at the end or whatever. But he's Nile, he's a legend. It was great. But did anybody else hear that? He was kind of doing the bluesy solo stuff at the end, but with a completely clean tone, Making it a little bit harder than it needed to be, I suppose, But who are we to say? He's Nile Rodgers. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to move down to the bottom of the chat here and see what you guys are talking about. Richard says you got a Barber pedal compressor and that around $100. I've never played a Barber pedal. They were a really big deal for a while. I remember like 10, 15, 20 years ago, the Barber Tone Press or something. There was one called the Barber. What was the drive? I don't hear about those pedals that much anymore, but they used to be kind of all the rage for a little bit. Compression with high gain, not necessary, because it's already compressed. The high gain, if you were to literally look at the waveform, you can actually see it in like a DAW. I mean, if you record your guitar, it's all smoothed out and even, like the peaks when you're playing with gain, right? Whereas a clean sound looks like very up and down, That's the compression, in the signal. So So you don't need it. Never say never, but one of the things you're going to find is one of the things compressors do is they make quiet sounds louder and loud sounds quieter, right? You compress the signal, so you raise the noise floor too. So all the stuff down here that's a pickup noise or any kind of hiss comes up, and you're putting the sound in it. So now if you put that into the front of an already dirty amp, it's going to be hissy and noisy no matter what. There's no way around it. You know, there's no quiet compression. For some are quieter than others, I guess, depending on the circuitry and stuff. But no matter what, you're going to raise the noise floor, and running into gain, it's probably going to be not a great sound. Yeah. Do you have go-to presets for the BrainWorks PT100 plugin? You know, actually, they're in there. So PT 3-channel basic or something. There's one called. You can see that there's a series of them that are my presets that I think are in the plugin that I made for them. I think there's about 5 of them. One's got a little echo on it with solos and stuff. The basic one would be the PT 3-channel basic or something it's called, I think. You know, and I kind of set the amp like I would live with the 3 channels all set up. So try that one, see what you think. That's where I would start from. Okay, not a contradiction. The licks you play clean, the licks you play distorted are different. So you use your hands differently in relation to the guitar tone. Yeah, I would say that that's all true. I would agree with all that. Jason says he's going on vacation in Greece for a couple weeks, and you're going to be guitarless. What can I focus on learning without a guitar in hand? That's a great question. Unique question. How do you practice without the instrument? Think about that. You know, I'm reading a book right. Well, why don't you do a little bit of reading? I'm reading this book that Corey Congilio got me. It's called Effortless Mastery, and I just started reading it, and it's all about kind of like stage fright and being timid and being in the wrong headspace when you're playing. And it's effortless mastery. It's about getting to the place where you're in a flow and not thinking about those things. And I would recommend maybe picking that up, because I've just started it really, but it's a good read so far. I like the concept of, of not thinking that way. When I see somebody like Landau play, he's not worried about regurgitating licks. He's completely creative in this zone where or you see Jeff Beck, it's like, you just get to feel like they're connected to the guitar. And when I think of guys like that, that's the ultimate, Maybe they have moments where they don't feel like it too. They probably do, but sure doesn't sound like it. So yeah, maybe a little bit of reading. So check out Effortless Mastery. I'm sure you can find it on Amazon. You could probably get it as an Audible book, maybe. I don't know, or maybe not, but check it out. I would think that might be a nice thing to read, and then come back to the guitar with a different perspective, Okay. Richards is like, he loves that advice on gain, which was to dial it back to where it's just a little too like a little less than you would like, I like to dial it back just a touch to make it work and dig into a certain spot. Eddie Van Halen used to say that too. He'd be like, yeah, I like to crank it all the way up and then just back it off a hair, right? He used to say that. Yeah, if Soundgarden did a tribute to Chris, they should get Kotzen to cover the vocals. They kind of did do a tribute to Chris. I mean, we did the show at the forum, and different folks got up and sang, and it was great. And I thought Miley was killer. It was kind of like Miley Cyrus coming into her own, where she all of a sudden got the respect of, much older musicians and stuff. That, I mean, she sang the hell out of it. I love all these women rock singers now, man. Like Demi's a friggin' like, holy shit. Like she sings like crazy, loud, powerful, and she's really into it. That's it. She's not a, people think, oh, she's this Disney girl. No, like she liked rock growing up.
She'd like rock and metal, you know. Nita was talking about it the other day. She goes, I was walking by her dressing room or whatever, and she was, you know, she said in an interview, she said, I was walking by her dressing room and there was like Megadeth coming out, and she was like listening to Megadeth. Like she likes rock, you know, and metal. So, and she can sing like that. She just happens to have those pipes. So it's like, it's kind of crazy. But if you watch any of these videos, this is why I'm interested to watch the Rock and Rio show tonight, because there's obviously going to be good board audio, you know, coming off the desk. And any of the videos I've seen so far, the Brazilians are so loud. Like they've done a couple shows in Sao Paulo and one in another city that I can't remember the name of. And you can't hear the band because it's like the Beatles. The audience is singing and screaming so loud in the videos because they're in Brazil and they do that. And you can't hear the music very well. So anyways, there's a super chat I got to grab there. I'll hit that in just a sec. But I'm finding this single amp sound too boring. I try and go stereo as often as possible. I love stereo. It's addictive once you try it. Stereo, of course, or slight doubling like Zap, or just having that second amp off somewhere adds so much depth. It really does. It's like a fantastic thing to have two amps. It's hard. I used two PT15s on something a little while ago, and it was like, oh God, it's so good. Like now I never want to. And there's enough volume with two of them to do anything like that I need to do now. You know, one can sometimes be, because it's 15-watt amp. I still find it works great with Classic Rock Show, but every now and then you want a little more oomph behind you. Two PT15 sounds like amazing. You know, it's addictive. It's there's no way around that. You know, just the complexity of two amps and the spread that you get is just great. How many times can you reheat coffee? Never. Have a great time at Guitar Summit. Okay, so let's talk about Guitar Summit for a second, then I'll grab that super chat there. Guitar Summit is the event that's happening in Mannheim, Germany next week, and I will be there. There's a lot of, I see Jeff Loomis is going to be there. He's going to do a masterclass. I want to go to that, or a clinic, or a workshop, whatever you call it. But that guy's an amazing guitar player. He's Canadian. I want to meet him. So the things I'll be doing, I'm doing 4 things, I guess. I'm doing the jam Saturday night and play a couple songs. Thomas Blug always heads it up. For those that don't know, Guitar Summit is like a guitar, sort of like a trade show, you know, where all the companies go, a bunch of guitar players go, like a little mini NAMM kind of thing. But it's pretty good size, actually, and it's really a fun event. And there's a bunch of workshops and classes and stuff, bass and guitar. So on Saturday, I'll be doing a workshop, which is me in a room with a whole bunch of people, whatever. Maybe nobody will show up, but hopefully it's a whole bunch of people. Last time it was great, actually, well attended. But this one's going to be focused on YouTube and social media. So I'll talk about how to develop, you know, if it's for guitar players, bass players, or whatever, and you go, okay, how do I, you know, you've got followers on Instagram and on YouTube and stuff. Why can't I seem to get any? That's kind of the thing. Like, and it's harder and harder these days, but I do have suggestions on it and thoughts on it. And whether we like it or not, it's the way that people find you these days. It's the first place somebody looks at, you know, oh, show me their Instagram here, or, you know, your friend's like, hey, hire so-and-so for your gig. That, well, show, what's their Instagram? They want to look at you and see you play. Oh shit. You know, now you gotta like hear me play through this little phone speaker or whatever, but that's just how it is these days. You know, you got to have it and you got to do it because everybody's got one. And if you don't, then they'll probably pick somebody else that they saw on Instagram or YouTube or something. Because it's just the first place that people look these days, generally speaking, especially if you're under the age of, you know, 40. You know, it's just how it is. So, so anyway, YouTube and social media strategies, how to develop a presence that, and this doesn't mean like, you know, oh, go all in on YouTube and make gear videos or anything. No, nothing like that. Just like how to have a little, it's your business card, you know, it's your best foot forward so that, you know, for your career. So that'll be on Saturday, YouTube and social media strategies. And I think I'm going to be joined by a friend of mine. I won't say who yet, just in case it doesn't happen, but I'm pretty sure. And he's an amazing guitar player. So that'll be cool. And he's got a great social media presence. So a little guest spot. Okay. So Sunday, I'll do Sunday Live. So in the place of my regular Sunday Live next week, it'll be And I'm not sure the time, but I'll set up a watch page, a few days before. It's not going to be at this time. It's going to be earlier because I'll be in Germany, and it'll be, I think it's later in the day on Sunday, but it'll be quite early in the morning LA time. So, because it's probably 4 or 5 p.m. or something like that. So I just need to check the time. So bear with me on that, but I'll put up a watch page for it. Probably by Friday or something like that, so you can see what time it's at. And if you're able to watch, great. If you're in Europe, it'll be a comfortable time. If you're in the States, you got to get up early. If you're in Australia, there's no way. If you're in Japan, you're going to be sleeping. Anyway, Sunday Live, where I'll take questions from the audience, and I'll also take questions just like this, as I do here. And it'll be kind of like a fun event that's, live streamed and that kind of thing. So, and I'm going to have a little rig set up, I think, too. And, I thought maybe it'd be fun to take kind of like a couple canned questions from my friend Nigel that's going to be there for sure. Like, how would you dial in this little pedal board or something through an amp? And if these are thrown at you to do a gig, like, show us what you would do. Maybe a simple assortment of like compressor, overdrive, distortion, delay, or something into an amp. Okay, let's set the amp. Let's set each pedal. Let's get a sound. That kind of thing. And like in 5 minutes, how would you do it? So start off with that and then go from there and take questions and stuff. It'll only be 45 minutes because that's how long the workshops are there. So that'll be next Sunday. That'll be a unique format for Sunday Live. And then I'm also doing a songwriting masterclass. That's 2 hours long, and it's something you have to sign up for. It's a paid masterclass thing. But I literally want to sit with people at Guitar Summit and show them how I work, like when I'm writing. So I want to sit with somebody and say, okay, like I want to pick a volunteer that's got the, enough balls to come up and maybe suck, because we can suck because we're writing. It doesn't have to be like, this is going to be amazing playing. I want to sit there with somebody that's like, show me a riff you're working on. Or do you have anything that you're, chord progression or something, but then you don't know where to go? Okay, let's develop that, And also talk about strategies for like when you're in a rut and you can't develop, or if you can't finish songs, you can't seem to get songs done, or you can't come up with melodies, that kind of thing, or everything sounds boring to you that you write. I want to talk about all that stuff and how to work through some of those issues and stuff, and my kind of strategies for working on stuff like that, keeping in the flow, getting things done quickly, not editing yourself too much, making the music kind of flow through you or whatever. So songwriting seminar, and hopefully that'll be beneficial for somebody there. I hope so. And then there's the jam on the Saturday night. So those are the things I'm doing. Songwriting masterclass, Sunday Live, YouTube and social media strategies. 3 things that I got going on at Guitar Summit. If you're in Germany and you're going to attend, guitarsummit.de is the website, and I believe you can go there and check the times and stuff, and also get tickets for the masterclass if you want to. And I hope it's well attended and stuff, because I think it'll be really fun. So we'll see if I can get enough people to sign up. Yep. What else are you guys talking about here? There's a super chat that I gotta grab. Sorry. Let's do that right now. Michael, what's up, man? Some dollars for some Malta ball chocolate. I saw those today. I haven't had one of those yet. I think they have some downstairs. I'll go get one. Can you describe to us the difference between your new HSS guitar and the Mark Lettieri Fiore guitar? It's sort of similar in a way, I guess, but I don't know the ins and outs of his guitar, really, like what the switching is. For example, I don't know. I think is his guitar got a maple fingerboard? Maybe. I'd have to look a little closer. I'm sorry, I don't know exactly. I mean, mine's an alder body. They're sort of solid finishes. I think it's a nice looking guitar. Mark's like an amazing guitar player, and he's not going to do anything that sucks. So I'm sure it's a great instrument. I'm sorry, I don't have more info on it. Are there pre-orders available? So my guitar, as far as orders go on it, dealers have ordered them, and there's been a lot ordered. And now it's just a matter of when they get built and get sent out. So the dealer will know that. So if you've got a local SUR dealer or not a local SUR dealer, you can contact them and any SUR dealer, and they should be able to tell you like an approximate time when the guitars will be there. But that's the best place to check it out. Jason says, perfect answer. Effortless Mastery on order. That's awesome. So you ordered the book. Fantastic. Let's see what else we got here. I've never heard Demi sing, says Arthur. She sings amazing, dude. She's like a really strong singer. That's she's had a up and down past and all that, but so have a lot of folks, and the one thing that doesn't seem to falter is that voice, and she's in a great place right now and seems to be like really happy. She's having a lot of fun being in an all-girl rock band, and they're all having fun out there and stuff. So yeah, she's a hell of a singer, man. Like as a rock singer. Watch the video for Eat Me that's on Vivo. If you search Demi Vivo YouTube Eat Me, it's a great song. It's all about accepting people the way that they are. That's what it's about. When you read the lyrics, it's about because she comes from an interesting. She's obviously her first couple records were kind of punk pop, power pop, punk pop, whatever, and then she went super pop for most of her career after that. And now she decided to make a rock record, and that can be difficult because your pop fans are going to be like, "What is this distorted guitar stuff?" Rock fans are going to be like, "Oh, she was a Disney pop girl," And so you got it both ways, but it's a ballsy thing as an artist to do something where it's like, I know I'm going to get hell from both camps. It's not going to be an easy ride. Could have made another pop record. That'd be easy. It's not the path of least resistance, that's for sure. But the record kicks ass so hard. Listen to this. So the Vivo is really interesting. They do these videos where they build a whole set, and there's a director, and they build a set, and it's like a whole thing. But you go there and you set up, and they record, and you actually play. So it's a live performance. They probably do, they do multiple takes. And sure, there's some editing going on, mixing or whatever that happens, but it's a take done that day is the point. So it's a very unique concept of doing a live performance video, but with a really cool set. And they do 4 songs, and there's only been 2 released so far. And it's just neat because it's just unique. It's like a music video that's live, sort of, because it's pro shot mix, not live off the floor or anything like that. You're hearing sure stuff's probably comped or whatever, but it's basically live. It's really cool. So when you hear the version, it's not the album version. You hear Nita, she plays a solo on it, and she's doing whammy bar dives and stuff like that aren't on the album version, and it's kind of cool. So check out the because the song is badass. I mean, it goes hard, man. It's like it's just a cool song, and it's kind of interesting because sorry, I digressed on this talking about Demi Lovato when you guys probably want to hear me talk about whammy bars and stuff, but I just find it interesting because it's a duet with a girl that goes by Royal and the Serpent, and so it's Demi and her duetting on the vocals. And Royal and the Serpent is the band that Britt actually toured with earlier this year. It feels like so crazy because it's like she's gone so far. It's a short period of time, but she did a whole tour with Royal earlier this year. And that's kind of partially, I guess, how she got on her radar and how she's now ended up in Demi's band. But it's Demi and Royal singing dual lead on this. And it's badass. I mean, check it out. Go watch the Vivo video I think it's badass. And Britt's badass in it too. She's killing it. Drums. So it's cool, man. Great video. Yeah. Robert says she's just not my thing. Well, go watch the video at least, then tell me. It's probably not your thing. It's okay if it's not your thing. We all like what we like, but it's badass. If it seemed disingenuous, I'd be critical, but she does seem to be coming from an honest place. She's totally come from an honest place. She wants to rock, I think that's Floppity Doo says, be careful if you Google Eat Me. Yeah, go to YouTube and put it in. Eat Me, Demi, Vivo. You'll be safe then. You won't get anything weird. You have to be careful when you Google anything these days, right? Or search for anything. Anyways. Okay, what else we got here? I'm a session player in my country, noob session player. So should I study lots of things? Is there any attitude for session player? The attitude is to be flexible. Don't get your feelings hurt too easily, because if the producer's like, I don't like what you're doing, do something different, you have to be able to turn on a dime and not let that affect your, be on time. Generally just be a nice person. But yeah, it helps to have a lot of tricks up your sleeve, and don't be difficult, like be intuitive, to know when maybe it's the right time to bring a modeler or when it's the right time to bring 10 amps and all your cabinets. You kind of need to suss that out from like, how would you do this the right way? What's the right thing for the situation? So Tim Pierce has a lot of great information on this. He does a whole studio guitar masterclass, and it gets a lot into the notes and the playing, but also into the kind of philosophies of how to be successful at that. So how do you like Malta? Do you have a performance happening? Well, it was a couple days ago, day before yesterday. So we already did it, unfortunately. I'm sorry if you're here and I didn't let you know. That would be on me. Have you thought about doing an online songwriting masterclass or maybe an instructional video on the subject? So that's kind of happening. I don't think I'm supposed to totally talk about it or exactly what's happening, but pretty soon it's coming out, I think. So very soon you'll see there's a thing on, it's kind of my clinic that I did a couple of years ago, which was called Recording and Production for the Modern Guitarist. It's about songwriting, and it's also about developing songs. It's happening. Like you're going to see this coming out pretty soon, and there'll be more information on it soon. So it was all pro shot, and I took a track of mine off of Pete Thorn 2, and I took a track of mine off Pete Thorn 2, and I did a play along of it. Not a play, like I'm actually playing, but to the rhythm tracks that were recorded on the record, but it's a live performance of me playing the guitar part. That's part of this whole thing. But in the song that I break down in the course is a unique piece of music it was the same thing that I did on my clinics in 2019, 2018. So I basically shot my clinic and put it into a course. So that's all happening. Yep. And it'll be pretty soon. Your riffs are killer on your gear reviews. Thanks, man. That's what I hope to show in the songwriting course next weekend in Mannheim, is how to hopefully come up with killer riffs and how to, do stuff that people dig. Let's see. Where would you set a chorus pedal in a rig? Usually before. It's great. You guys are asking great questions today, by the way. Chorus in a rig. Usually I'm like, the compressor comes up front, and then wah, and then, or sometimes wah, and then actually it's wah and compressor in my current rig, and then that makes more sense. And then I've got fuzz, and then phaser, and then what comes next? Overdrives, distortions, then chorus. So before delays and reverbs. That's what I say, before delays and reverbs. Sometimes can be in front of the amp too. If it's a nice warm analog chorus, especially amp or amps in stereo, or you can do it in the loop. That's cool too. 6 of one, half dozen the other. I like them both ways for different things. Would you ever try full scallop necks? I actually scalloped a neck on one of my guitars once, did it myself. It was a mess. But I tried it, so I only had one once. I wouldn't mind having a scallop neck guitar. Like I would like an Yngwie model. Be cool. Yngwie model Strat. Why not? Let's see. Anybody hear New King's X yet? It's good. All God's Children is one song. I haven't heard the whole thing. I've only heard the 3 tracks they released. That was like a week ago or something. And then like the whole album's out now, but I haven't listened to it yet. I want to wait because I want to hear it like properly. I don't want to listen to it on the phone or avoiding listening to it unless I'm sitting down with headphones or something and really into it, or in a good sounding car setup or something. Yeah, your choices on your product demos are really musical. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, I generally speaking, I just try and
do, generally speaking, I just try and do what I, like I don't approach a demo any different than writing. It's just me sitting there writing a song. So I put as much thought into it as I would recording a song for a record or whatever. And that's what keeps me out of trouble. Surfby said Demi Lovato isn't a rock artist. Well, she's what she wants to be. It doesn't matter. What she's a rock artist if she wants to be. Colin says, I just checked it out. I had no idea Demi did it. It's not contrived, dude. When she's singing a song, we're going to have a little debate about this because I love you. You're always here. But listen to the lyrics of the song. It's she's talking about you in the song. She's talking about, would you like me better if I was like I was before? How would you, you'll have to eat me as I am. That's the chorus. It's like, she's like, this is what I'm doing now, and that girl is, I'm not the girl I was before. She's dead and in the fucking morgue. That's the chorus. Right. That's what she says, so it's like, this is what I want to do now. So you're like, she's just not a rock artist. Well, she's like, I am, because that's what I want to be. Right. She's writing the song literally. So anyways, I love you, but you know what I'm saying? She's actively fighting against that kind of like, and it's also, there's a lot of other things because, with her past and stuff like that, I think it's about her ex-management teams and stuff like that really rang her through the ringer to kind of fit her into a box. And she's like, didn't want to be in that box, which, she had a lot of substance abuse problems and stuff like that too, that she's had to work through. And I don't know, man, I think what does make rock? What is rock? Sure. I'll agree with you the way that, but people are making records different these days. Her boyfriend now is the guy that like co-wrote a whole bunch of the songs on the record. And, like, look at that dude. He's straight up like crazy tattoos, pink hair, and like he's like a wild looking modern kid rocker guy. And it's like she's not working with like pop producers right now, and she wants to rock. So let's let her rock, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Am I right? Am I wrong? I don't know. Am I crazy? I listened to it and I've heard the whole record before it came out. I was like, man, this is solid. Like, not only did just the structure of the songs and stuff, because there's like cool bridges and stuff, I love the ascending thing at the end of the chorus of the song that I told you guys to go listen to and stuff. It's just a well-crafted like song that goes hard and kicks ass. It's cool. I don't know. I like it. I like all kinds of stuff. So other people are like a little more like whatever, but it's not pop music. If you put it on, it sounds like industrial almost, with the distorted bass in the beginning and stuff. It's like, just a contribution for all the knowledge you share and for coffee, says Philip. Thanks, man. I really appreciate it. I do. I appreciate the super chats. Soon I'm going to go. Ooh. I'm good. I got to make sure I get out of here before they're going to stop food. I got to go get some food. Have a little dinner. I'm going to eat light tonight. Maybe a bowl of soup or something. That's going to be it. Isn't that interesting? Steve Vai has a killer 2-hour video on pedal placement. I think is that on the Sweetwater website? A cool video on Sweetwater, I think. That might be it. Philip says, how much gain does it take before you feel like a loop is required? Depends what you're doing, like you can't do long, clean delays really into the front end of a plexi. Like it's always going to be kind of, depends what you want. Reverb for sure is a no-go into like a dirty plexi. It just sounds blown up. It's cool in an indie kind of way for some stuff, but it's not going to be like controlled, So I would say you can get away with, with it, just about any Fender, maybe not a Tweed, but just about any blackface style, deluxe or super reverb or whatever. You can run everything in front and make it work. It'll be cool sounding.
Even an AC30, unless you're trying to be Brian May. I mean, you can run a lot of stuff. I mean, Edge obviously did it, and it sounded great, super vibey. You know, there's a point where it's like it sounds great, like up to a point, delays and things into something like an AC30 that's grinding up a bit. It's cool because it's compressing the delays, you know, blowing up the reverb a bit, compressing it. It's got a very dynamic kind of sound to it that's amazing. But anything beyond kind of rhythm grind is where you're going to run into trouble. If you get anything lead, I mean, you can do it. I mean, you know, an Echoplex works great for that one repeat kind of delay stuff, or Jimmy Page, you know, whatever, all day long, right? I mean, Echoplex into the front, kind of getting crazy. Let's see, Peter Evans, what's up, dude? Coming in late. What's happening? Videos this week. Sunday Live planned for next weekend. So yeah, Sunday Live next week. Peter is coming from Mannheim, Germany. I will be doing Sunday Live with some nice folks in Mannheim attending the Guitar Summit show. It's just going to be at a slightly different time, and that is yet to be TBA. If you're in the U.S., it'll be quite early. Yeah. Eddie says you're going to listen to it on tape. King's X. No, I'm going to listen to King's X like at least on good headphones or something when I can have a quiet time to do that. I could have done that today, I guess, but I didn't. I did other things. I went swimming in the ocean. Glad to see you doing well and getting around post-COVID. Man, I've been getting around a lot lately. Thanks. Any plans for PT3 in 2023? Yeah, I think it's time to make another record. So maybe towards the end of this year, actually, like even do some writing November kind of thing. Maybe some tracking, I think. Yeah, I wonder how to find a gig as a starting guitarist, how to distract musicians around, and how to get called back to gigs. How to distract? How to find a gig as a starting guitarist. Well, you know, I think that's part of this thing I'm doing next week in the YouTube and social media strategies thing is like your calling card these days is really the internet. That's how people are going to find you. That's how they're going to, you know, putting up stuff on IG. And Britt's a great example. I mean, she's now playing Rock and Reel tonight with Demi Lovato, right? It was a huge gig. It's like she got seen on Instagram. You know, she did other things too. She went around LA and networked and met people and stuff. But big part of it is the first thing they're going to go do is watch you on Instagram. And so she kind of curated her Instagram and learned how to record herself on drums. Got a cool looking little setup and stuff like that. And played some fun stuff that is fun to watch. So the time when somebody, it's like luck is preparation meets opportunity, right? So the preparation was put in, the opportunity came along. Somebody going, like, yeah, I want that girl, which was Demi, right? Picking her. That's where she went. That's cool. I want that girl. I told her, I'm like, somebody's going to come along and they're going to want, I want you. I want that girl, the crazy rocker girl with the tattoos, you know? And sure enough. Thoughts on the Friedman Dirty Shirley? Really like that amp, actually. It's a great amp. It's essentially an 800 style front end, probably with some tweaks, with a 45 style, JTM 45 style power amp. So kind of soulful, saggy, a little more with the tube rectifier kind of power amp. Very cool. And it's got a great clean sound. You can use it with a low gain input or use it into the high gain input and just turn the gain way down, turn the master up. Great sound. Didn't Clapton put chorus before gain in the past? Probably in the 80s. Wouldn't be surprised. Arthur says King's X has never, Doug said King's X has never been a profitable band. I could believe that. I mean, they always had kind of a hard go, but they have a great fan base. And when you go to their shows, I think they're sustained on the power of music. You know, they play so great. And when they play and the audience is out there singing every word, even if there's 300 of them in the crowd, it's a mighty 300, you know, and it's a lot of fun. and that's got to make you feel good when you're okay. Let's keep going. One more year, because they're like, God, they've been around a long time, man. I mean, they've been around now, 40 years going on almost. It's crazy, you know. Maybe not quite, but 35 years for sure. I'm grumpy today. This is Surfer B. Do I say your name right? I'm sorry if I don't. I like it though. It's okay. You can be grumpy, dude. I get grumpy too. I was kind of grumpy last night, actually. I was a little like grumpy watching the show, actually, like the Taylor Hawkins. I was more I think I was just tired, but I was more into it watching it today, actually, like replays of it, and then I got like seeing some of them the second time and stuff. But I know it's weird. I'm in a nice place. So it doesn't matter, you know. You get grumpy when you're, I don't know. People are weird. I'm weird. King's X, I learned how to play Over My Head. Great tune. Yeah. All right. I'm going to hang about another 5 minutes, then I'm going to go eat because I'm starving and I'm tired. I'm not grumpy, though. I'm not grumpy. Rock is about doing what you want, despite haters. Yeah, I agree. Rock should be about, you do what you want, and you just go for it and you rock. There's no faking, no faking rock. You got to get out there and rock. If you want to rock with your bad self. If it sounds good, it is good. That's what I think, That's what I think. Bon Scott started in a pop band. I think that's right. And then he had to kind of appropriate, like, because Dave Evans, right? The bass player in classic rock show, Wayne, who I love and definitely rocks. He's a real rocker. Looks like Steve Harris from Iron Maiden. He used to play with Dave Evans, the original singer from AC/DC, before Bon. He did some touring with him and stuff. And he said he was like the real deal. Like, that guy really rocked. He was hardcore. If you could name a few new good guitarists, rock or blues, who would they be? Chris Buck's the first guy that comes to mind. I'll see him next weekend. He's just amazing. Just a fantastic guitar player. I'll stop there because he's great. Let's see. What else we got here? I think Demi's more rock than Machine Gun Kelly. Hey, if he wants to rock in his own way, he could do his thing. It's like, at least there's guitars, man. I mean, like, there was no guitar for like the longest time in anything, and then he comes out and he has guitars. Well, that's good. I don't know. I'm a glass half full kind of guy, I guess. Or it's a reactive load from Chicago Music Exchange. That's cool. That's a great box. That's a good one. She's more authentic now than she was ever able to be. Yeah, that's what I think. And I think it'll only get more so that way. Like, because you can just tell, like, pretty sure through touring in the US too, I think it'll be helpful. Appreciate your openness and not boxing people into one genre. Well, this is a common, like, the boxing people into a genre thing is, Chris had that, Lord knows he tried to do some stuff that people didn't like, but we talked about it, and he would say, everybody wants me to do this one thing that I can do, but I do so much more, and I like doing other things, which is the one thing. I've talked about this before on this show, so I'm repeating myself, but it's the beyond the wheel thing or whatever, it's like that power rock singer guy is only one aspect of what he wanted to do. He's a guy. He wants to do what he wants to do, whether or not people want you to. In a way, it's a compliment, because when you're a musician and you do something great, you make people feel a certain way. And music is all about, when you really connect, it's about making people feel a certain way, right? I was, reading about Oasis. Their whole goal was to do these, massive anthems that made people sing along and kind of like, like whatever. Just, it was big, stadium-made kind of rock anthems. That was their whole MO. Like, and I remember Noel Gallagher in the Oasis documentary that came out. That's kind of about the time leading up to, I think, with the Glastonbury or whatever, and it's like '96, and it's just massive, biggest band in Europe, if not the world or whatever at that point, just huge. And he was talking about how people will never forget the way you make them feel, you know, if you can make them feel like, you know. And so anyways, that's the thing. And that's why people want an Oasis reunion, you know, because they made them feel a certain, so people, if you were into that kind of thing, you know, I'm not saying everybody wants an Oasis reunion, but, you know, people that hound them about, when are you guys going to when you get back together? Once you get, Noel just won't do it. Liam will do it, but Noel won't do it, you know. And they, you know, there'd be huge money there and stuff if it ever was to happen. People, because they just, you know, it's the same thing with Van Halen, you know. You know, everybody just wanted to feel like they made them feel in the 80s, in 1982 or 3 or 4 or whatever, when you saw them on that tour. It's like a drug, you know. You made people feel a certain way with music, and people just want that again. They want to feel that certain thing. They want that thing, not a different thing. The artist is like, that's not the way it works. You're like, oh, I did that thing. Now I want to do this other thing. People are like, no, I want you to make me feel the way you made me feel last year. Oh God, I think I'm tired because I'm like rambling, but I'm enjoying my own rants. I hope someone else out there is. Anyways, Chris says, I just saw an IG clip Indeed playing Brazil with Demi, and the crowd went nuts for a guitar solo. This can only be good. Yeah, I agree. There's a whole bunch of pop fans out there. Like tonight, they're direct support for Justin Bieber, right? They're going to go out there, and Nita's going to play fucking whammy bar shred solos and tapping the whole 9 yards, right? You know, not that Justin doesn't have a guitar. He's got Jules Wolf in his band. He's a great guitar player. But you know what I'm saying. Guitars, that featured dirty rock guitar thing, that's what they're going to get tonight, you know. That's good for guitar. Let's see. Have you heard anything from Emily Wolf? I'm spacing on who that is right now, but yeah, the name sure sounds familiar. So I don't know exactly who she is, but I know I've heard her. Yeah, this is a good point too. Demi being rock's no different than somebody like Adam Lambert, just because they were associated with Disney or American Idol, and respectively, and done pop, they can still rock. Miley's the same way. I mean, she grew up, you know, doing Hannah Montana, right? And then like she had to kind of like, there's so many years of like trying to find her way, and kind of, I feel for her because she was like so kind of in the public eye the whole time and stuff, and then like made it kind of like through. And it was really at the Cornell. I played with her at the Cornell tribute, and she blew me away. And you know, I didn't know what to expect, but that was really the night. And then she sang with Temple of the Dog and did like an amazing version of not Hunger Strike. She did an amazing version of Sail Low to Heaven. I don't think she sang Hunger Strike. She Sail Low to Heaven that night, but she killed it. Great singer. And then, you know, when you watch her now, she's like a great rock singer. She's great. She likes to rock. She likes rock music. It's obvious. So, yeah. But these people, they found their way, you know, many times to stardom through. It's tough to go from pop to rock because rock fans are really, I don't want to say jaded, but they're critical, you know, and metal fans are like really critical. And they'll be the ones that like, they're the most loyal too. They're very loyal, but you know, there's a lot of good things. Loyalty, but they don't want you to do things different generally, and they don't trust you if you're an outsider, you know. So like, but you're like, no, I've been listening, I grew up listening to rock, grew up listening to metal, I want to rock, let me rock too, I love rock. Like, we don't trust you, you were a pop artist. Anyways, what DAW is the right choice for a beginner to that world? You know, if you've got a Mac, just use GarageBand. It's in there already, and you can do some cool stuff on GarageBand, in my opinion. You guys, I should go. I should go get some food. One more super chat there. Have a nice appetizer before dinner. Thanks, Richard. Appreciate that, man. When's the next? Thank you for the super chat. When's the next Tim and Pete show? I don't know, but we got to do something soon. And you know, something else. I always love doing stuff with Tim. You know, we'll see. Were you part of Celestian Sir IRs? They sound awesome. Not really. Although they did one of my cabs. So there's a PT signature cab in there. So aside from voicing that cabinet, I mean, it sounds like the cabinet. But I didn't have anything to do with the making of those in particular. Other than, you know, helping to design that cabinet. What is or was your usual delay? I've got an Echoplex and a timeline on my board. Taylor Momsen broke out. Anyone can. Taylor, yeah, Taylor was a child star on television, right? And she kicks ass. Super cool. Down at the bottom of the chat, and then I'm going to go eat. Ooh, there's one more super chat there. I don't want to miss any of you guys. Thank you very much for all these. Excited to see content from Germany. It's a good life you have. I feel the same. I love my life. Thank you. We do the best we can. We do. Do you think Alice Cooper mentored Nita? For sure. I mean, she came up through. I'm sure she would be the first to say that Alice gave her the platform and the, you know, I'm sure she learned. I mean, she was with him for 8 years. So, yeah. Lauren says, I think Britt should teach Nita to play drums. They can do a switch off. Britt plays a pretty good guitar. Britt plays good guitar. She does, and bass. Have you ever met Gretchen Menn? Yes, love Gretchen Menn. Sweet, wonderful person. Like, so sweet. Really, really a nice person. One of the first outings I had, I'll just tell the story really quick and then I'll go, was after Chris died, Chris Cornell. It was about 3 days later. It was the weekend, and the Venice Guitar Festival was going on. The Malibu Guitar Festival was going on. And Steve Vai was there. And somebody invited me out to see Steve that worked with him. And I was like, I don't know if I want to go out. Like, I feel like I was obviously upset and stuff like that. And I thought maybe it'd be good for me to get out of the house and I should just go. And I went, and that was maybe the first night I met Gretchen, or maybe not. I might have met her once before. But I went, and they were such nice people, this little group of people that went to see Steve, and they were friends with Steve and that sort of circle. And I spoke with Gretchen for a while that night. She was so sweet. I always remember that about her. It might have been the second time we met, but everybody knew I was kind of like, you know, not in a good state. And then they took me and said, Steve wants to talk to you for a second. And Steve Vai was there, you know, guesting, sitting in. And I'd met him once before, but I don't know if he remembered that. And I sat down with him, and he said, hey, you know, and he proceeded to, this is more of a story about Steve than it is about Gretchen, really, but it was all of them there that night were so nice to me. He said, I want to just say, I know you're probably in a bad way right now, but he said, you know, something along the lines of, you know, I know you were close with Chris and he was a good friend of yours, and you're probably really sad right now, you know, but you can still have that kind of relationship with him, even though he's gone. Like, you know, he's your friend. You can still think about him, and you can think you'll get to that place. He also said kind of that thing where you'll get to that place where when you think of him, it'll bring a happy thought, not you know, because you're not there yet, but you'll get to that place where you'll think about the good times and it'll be a positive thing. It won't be this, you know, always. So, and it was so sweet, you know. I was like, you didn't have to do that, you know. And so that really left an impression on me. And she was really kind that night too. And so it was just, I'm really glad I went out. You know, it was a great thing that I did, that I ended up going. It was really cool. Steve, you know, it was really kind of him, you know, just really great. So anyways, you guys, I should split. I got to go get some dinner. Please have a great week. Be safe out there. And next week I'll be in Mannheim, Germany. Sunday live. I'll put the watch page by probably like Friday afternoon, LA time, for Sunday, so you guys know what time it's going to be. And please join in. It'll be fun. There'll be an audience there, you know, and then people asking questions here as well, and it'll be kind of interactive and stuff, and should be cool. It's going to go by like real quick, I think, but it'll be good. I hope. Should be, but it's gonna be fun. So anyways, all right, you guys take care. Thanks for your super chats. Thanks for joining, And always, I love you all. Thanks for being here. And I'm delirious. I'm going to go eat something. Take care, everybody. Have a great week. Over and out.